The bear that never died. The legend of the Tu-95. There is a question military analysts have been asking for decades, and one that no one has ever answered comfortably. How is it possible that the loudest aircraft in military history, so deafening that enemy nuclear submarines can detect it underwater, remains one of the most feared weapons on Earth in the 21st century? This is not a new aircraft. It has no stealth technology. It does not fly faster than sound. It was designed when Stalin was still alive, when the world had never even dreamed of the internet, when ballistic trajectories were calculated with slide rules and paper. And yet, tonight, as you watch this video, there is a very real chance that one of these aircraft is in the air right now. Loaded. On mission. Targeting. They call it the bear. And what you are about to discover is not merely the story of an airplane. It is the story of a military doctrine that borrowed the brain of the 21st century to preserve the muscle of the 20th. It is the story of how a nation builds real power, not through what it possesses, but through what it knows how to do with what it possesses. Because by the end of this documentary, when you understand exactly why Russia continues to fly this machine, you will understand something the headlines never explain. In war, intelligence often outlasts novelty. The most dangerous weapon is not always the most expensive, not always the most modern, not always the quietest. Sometimes, the most dangerous weapon is the one you know perfectly, the one you have refined for 70 years, the one you can maintain, modernize, and deploy while your enemy is still waiting for the prototype of its next generation. Stay with us, because what comes next will change the way you understand nuclear deterrence, the economics of warfare, and the nature of power in the modern world. This is the story of the Tupolev Tu-95, the bomber that defied time, and apparently is not finished yet. The heart of the beast, the Mk-12 engine. To understand why the Tu-95 is still alive today, you first need to understand what beats inside it. For engines, for massive turbines, each connected to two counter-rotating propellers with 4 blades each. 8 propellers in total, spinning in opposite directions simultaneously, generating so much thrust that they visibly distort the air around them. The sound they produce is unlike anything in civil aviation. A deep mechanical roar, relentless, omnipresent, a sound that cuts through metal, water, and the silence of the Arctic itself. That engine has a name, the Kuznetsov Mk-12, and more than 70 years after its creation, it still holds a record no engineer anywhere in the world has surpassed. It remains the most powerful turboprop engine ever built. 15,000 horsepower per engine. Multiply that by 4, and the result is 60,000 horsepower driving a single aircraft. But here is the detail that changes everything. And it is the detail most military headlines never mention. Raw power is not what makes the Mk-12 extraordinary. Efficiency is. There is an uncomfortable truth in aviation physics. Pure jet engines, the kind that power supersonic fighters and modern strategic bombers, become remarkably inefficient when operating far below their maximum performance envelope. At moderate cruise speeds, they burn fuel at a rate that severely limits endurance without constant aerial refueling. The Mk-12 follows an entirely different philosophy. At the Tu-95's cruising speed of roughly 800 km per hour, its counter-rotating propellers convert fuel into thrust with an efficiency that conventional jet engines simply cannot match within that speed range. The result is staggering. An operational range of approximately 15,000 kilometers without refueling. 15 continuous hours in the air. The ability to take off from deep inside Russia, reach almost any region on Earth, and return without landing even once. Think about that for a moment. A Tu-95 can depart from the Kola Peninsula in northwestern Russia, circle the Arctic, patrol the edges of the North Atlantic airspace, and return home without ever touching foreign soil. And while doing so, it is not empty. It is armed. That is not industrial nostalgia. That is strategic geometry. And once you understand that geometry, you begin to understand why no Russian general with access to the real numbers has ever signed the final retirement order for this aircraft. There is a concept in military strategy known as asymmetric warfare. Its logic is simple and devastating. You do not need to match your enemy's strengths. You need to make those strengths irrelevant. The modernized Tu-95 is a perfect embodiment of that principle. For decades, its weakness was obvious. A giant aircraft, subsonic, but non-stealthy. The exact type of target modern air defense systems were designed to destroy. Interceptors, surface-to-air missiles, early warning radar networks. Entire defensive architectures existed specifically to stop aircraft like this one. Then something happened that changed the rules completely. And it did not happen inside the aircraft. It happened beneath its wings. The latest operational version, U-95, can carry up to 8 Kh-101 cruise missiles, 8 autonomous precision-guided weapons, each capable of independently navigating toward its target after launch. But what makes the Kh-101 revolutionary is not its accuracy. It is its invisibility. Its radar cross-section is approximately 0.01 square meters. To put that into perspective, a medium-sized bird can produce a larger radar signature. Even the world's most advanced air defense systems face real challenges detecting and tracking an object that's small flying at low altitude. Its strike range extends between 3,500 and 5,500 kilometers. The operational implications are profound. The Tu-95 no longer needs to approach the target. It does not need to cross borders. It does not need to challenge enemy air defenses directly. It can launch from within Russian airspace, release its stealth cruise missiles, and return home. The missiles complete the mission alone, flying low, avoiding radar, hunting their targets with a level of precision that World War II bombers could never have imagined. The loudest aircraft in military history has become the launcher for some of the quietest weapons ever built. The bear does not need to be invisible. Its claws are. And that brings us to the conclusion this documentary has been building toward from the very beginning. The decision to keep the Tu-95 in active service is not a sign of industrial weakness, nor a nostalgic refusal to move forward. It is a cold, calculated, and remarkably intelligent strategic choice. It combines extraordinary propulsion efficiency with advanced standoff weaponry. It maximizes range, minimizes cost, and preserves a credible nuclear deterrent while future generation projects continue to mature. In vain, victory does not belong to whoever possesses the newest technology. It belongs to whoever possesses the right combination of capabilities at the exact moment they are needed. For 70 years, the Tu-95 has been that combination. And as long as its engines continue roaring across the Arctic sky, the world would be wise to keep listening. Because the bear never learned how to die.